All right. Let's watch. I do have to wonder. I've been curious ever since I saw Charlie Kirk get blown out in a debate against a comedian who was poorly prepared. Let's see if he performs just as well in other debates, okay? Also, his face is literally doing the meme thing where it looks like it got shrunk. He looks like James Franco had his head enlarged around, like, his normal facial features. Frog her. Oh no. James Franco, but he just got stung by a swarm of bees.
Welcome to Debate Night, everybody. My name is Charlie Kirk. Tonight's guest is a self-proclaimed democratic socialist, a philosophy professor at Georgia State University, Perimeter College, and an adjunct professor at Rutgers University. He's a columnist for the Jacobin magazine and has written 4 books, including his most recent, Christopher Hitchens, What He Got Right, How He Went Wrong, and Why He Still Matters. In addition to all of that, he hosts the podcast Give Them an Argument, which you can find on his Patreon, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Please join me in welcoming
Ben Burgess doesn't shy away from a debate. I don't know. I think Charlie Kirk is more careful about how he debates. You notice, like, he started his own debate show, and I think it's because he wants to have these debates on his home turf, much like Tim Pool, you know?
Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of Debate Night. With us tonight is Ben, or Dr. Burgess, or Ben Burgess, however you want to say it. We're going to be debating, and we'll see where it leads us, Democrat socialism versus conservative populism. Super thrilled.
Yo, Ben looks ready. He looks like he's ready to pounce. Okay? Also, what did I do wrong, chat? We lost like 30 viewers. What happened?
That Ben is here tonight to have this discussion. It'll start with some opening statements, and then we'll take it from there. The 2 minutes is yours, Dr. Burgess.
Everyone does, Danny boy.
Thank you, Mr. Kirk, and thank you to Town Circle for setting this up. So, I'm a democratic socialist because I don't think anybody deserves to have less power or a dramatically worse life because of factors that are outside of their control. So that's the first part. That's the philosophical basis. Concretely, I think it's obscene that we have an economic system where
no, Danny boy, it's okay.
Warehouses
just don't tell us.
Skip bathroom breaks because they're worried about falling behind in their quotas, and their boss literally owns his own spaceship. Now, we can argue about what a fairer society would look like. I can contrast what I would see as utopia with what you would, and I'm always up for that kind of thing. I'm sure we'll get into some of it later. But what I really like to start out with is not so much that end point as the baby steps towards justice that we could take right now. Things like raising taxes on rich people to pay for social programs that would benefit the rest of us. Things like raising the minimum wage for the working poor. Things like making it easier for ordinary people to organize unions so they can have at least a little bit of a say at what happens in the workplaces where they spend half their waking lives. And I gotta say, what always confuses me about you, Charlie, is that I've seen you say that you're not like an old style kind of corporate Republican in the Reagan, Bush, William F. Buckley kind of mold. And certainly the politicians you seem to be most enthusiastic about, people like Donald Trump or J.D. Vance now, make a big deal saying they're
I love this. He's already going on the attack here.
Populist, they really want to help like struggling people in the heartland. And if that's true, I don't really get why you don't support any of those things that I just mentioned.
Well, very good. It's almost exactly 2 minutes. So I'll respond. First of all, thank you for being here. And if we want to spend an extended period of time bashing Jeff Bezos, I'm all for that. I think it's actually going to be really fun. So let me just first kind of tell you what I believe and why we believe it. It's kind of framed as conservative populism. Put simply, we believe in the natural law. We believe, as the Declaration of Independence says, the laws of nature and nature's God, we believe in limitations on human beings, and we should believe there are limitations on power, both government power and, yes, of course, corporate power, as Barry Goldwater said in the 1960s. We also believe America is strongest when
you really want to base your political ideas off of Barry Goldwater.
Families are flourishing, when there's a strong moral center, when middle-class work is respected and appreciated. And the populist component to this is we need to be
DB Wolf, thank you for subscribing.
Of what's happening around us. See when core institutions are failing, like the family, which has been failing over the last 60 years in America, which can be attributed to many different things. I would attribute it to the rise of an aggressive social welfare state and an overindulgence in neoliberalism, that we must be willing to do something about it when the family starts to disintegrate, when our nation starts to fall apart, when our borders remain wide open. And so we
Danny Boy, actually, that's a really good observation. His head is actually, like, when he was born, he had a very rare condition. They had to transplant his pinky toe to where a normal head would be. And over an extensive amount of surgery, move the brain into the little toe, the pinky toe, you know? This is, by the way, why it is so engorged up here in comparison to his face. It's actually quite traumatic and quite advanced cosmetic surgery.
Pair those two things together, conservative populism, and the kind of philosophical basis for a lot of this is the willingness to act with prudence and wisdom to try and fix things that matter, things that objectively matter. And I've been really looking forward to this discussion.
Yeah, honestly, Fuzz Skull, that's one of the big issues, right? Because the middle class, guys, I don't know if you guys know this, but the middle class is being destroyed. It's not being destroyed by the working class. It's being destroyed by the top 1% of people in the United States. The reason the middle class is disappearing is because of the abject greed of the corporate elite class in this country. That's why it's gone. And furthermore, being diminished with every day that passes. We need to actually value the labor people do, whether or not that labor is being done at the middle class level, whatever nebulousness that is. Remember, some politicians think that middle class is like having like a 6-digit figure income. Or like whether it's middle class or working class. Or homeless class, you know, like we need to value the labor of whoever's doing that labor.
I hope it's more of a discussion than a debate, because we will disagree on plenty. But when you talk about an untouchable oligarchy, I completely agree. I think that there is an untouchable oligarchy in this country.
Let's go, Brandon. Who are you talking to?
Corporate and governmental, scientific and technological, that is crushing the everyday common man. Where I think we're going to disagree is that I think the end goal, the thing that we must strive to, is family formation, family protection, and that strong moral center. And conservative populism is a resurgence of focusing on these things and developing solutions to hopefully fix it.
All right.
Wait, why did Rail Roberto get timed out?
Well, I guess what I would say is when you talk about limited power, right? I get that. That makes sense to me. I think that absolutely, I think oftentimes actually people get the relationship between these things really wrong, and they'll think, well, the more you think that human nature is good and cooperative, the more you might think that a fairer society is possible, and the more you think that human nature is flawed and selfish and cruel, then the more you should think that, hey, we might as well just stick with free market capitalism. But I think the opposite is true. I think that the more you worry that given too much power over another, one person over another, that person is going to treat the other the way that Walmart treats its employees, the way that Harvey Weinstein treated aspiring actresses. The more you're worried about that, the more you should want power to be distributed as evenly as at all possible. And that's really why I'm a democratic socialist, that I think whether you're talking about Russia under Stalin.
True. This is a really great direction for Ben to steer this conversation in, because it forces Charlie into the position of being anti-democracy.
Or Amazon under our mutual friend Jeff Bezos.
Not a friend.
Then any
Wait, what does Brandon have to do with Biden?
time you have one person having way too much power over another without democratic accountability, I think you're going to get really bad abuses.
So I think that's helpful. Where I think we'll disagree, though, is the means of which we can represent individual people against oppressors or people that have power. This is why I tend to defend markets. And I want to be very clear. Markets are a tool, something we set up to hopefully help human beings. There are externalities. There are jerks and dirtbags like Jeff Bezos that tend to...
Wait, we don't set up markets. Like it's not like someone's like, there will be a market on this now. Humans naturally form trade. Humans naturally form, like, whether you want to classify it as trade or mutual aid, you know, we do this. We help one another. Whether we are trading money for goods and services or like goods for goods, like, it's not like the government's going in like, yes, we must create a market for iron.
On the system, not pay taxes, not treat their workers. And one of the reasons why this has become an emphasis, I think, of conservatives is we're willing to use prudence in a non-dogmatic way and say, wait a second, if we're trying to conserve something that is eternal and beautiful and true, is it a good thing that this...
Charlie, nothing is eternal. Literally nothing. Literally nothing in our universe. I don't know, maybe if you do ascribe to like some higher power, you can be like, well, my higher power is eternal, in which case, like, I mean, sure, that's fine, but like that doesn't affect our material conditions.
Kind of, let's just use Bezos again, $200 billion of net worth, while the average American family is struggling to pay off student loan debt or financial debt. Where I think we're going to explore, I can't do this in the remaining 20 seconds I have though, is true decentralization must happen in a way that is consistent with both reining in the administrative state and reining in the technological and corporate power sources in our country. And the ultimate form of decentralization is the family. Strong families, strong households.
What? Yo, I'm sorry. Family businesses aren't going to solve the problems of capitalism, my dude. Is this a Triforce tee? It is. It's a Legend of Zelda tee. It's not a t-shirt. It's actually a sweater. But yeah. Also, hello, Sleep Easy.
All right. So I guess when you talk...
The hammock at a social safety net.
Families still have side will
and families getting stronger.
Well, I think that if you want to have a traditional family, absolutely, you should be able to do that. You talked about activist organizations. I think that I would point to, like, you know, the Working Families Party in New York, for example, as an activist organization that clearly has no problem with families. Of course, if you want to live some other way, that's great, true. I think in a pluralistic society, I think everybody should be able to
Calm
strive
like a Tom. Thank you for
for
gifting
their
another
vision
tier 1
of
sub
the
to
good
the
life,
Sleep Easy.
and
I
everybody should
really
be free
appreciate
to
it,
live
friend.
in the way that they want to be free.
Thank you for supporting my channel.
And I think
because, frankly, it's because of people like all y'all that I can do this in the first place, okay?
that this is one of the biggest problems. You know, when we talk about things like healthcare, oftentimes people on my side will emphasize the fact that life expectancy is higher in places like Canada and the UK where they have socialized healthcare, and infant mortality. And you want to talk about families, you know, people's babies are less likely to die in places like Canada and the UK than in the United States. And mortality amenable to healthcare, which is a stats nerd way of saying that you're less likely to die from treatable diseases, is lower in those places. And I think all those are true and important, but I don't think it's the most important thing, because most of us are not on the verge of dying most of the time. Most of us are not worried that our babies are going to die most of the time.
This is why I love Ben Burgess. He gets me to think about new ways of arguing these points, which I think is very valuable on the left.
The biggest way, I think, that not providing everybody with healthcare as a right affects the lives of most people is that it makes us less free, because people are a lot less likely to leave jobs that they hate if they're worried about, will I still have health insurance? Will my family still have health insurance? People stay in those jobs and don't pursue their dreams all the time because of that. There are people, I think people who are in good families and they want to keep them together, absolutely, they should be able to do that. But there are also people who stay in bad or even abusive marriages because they cannot afford to lose their spousal health insurance. And so I think that we're not only happier and we not only live longer, but I think we're also freer if we take care of those things.
So that's an interesting point. And what you're articulating, as before we get into the back and forth here, is what Lyndon Baines Johnson would call freedom from necessity, which is something I take exception with.
Of course
I
you do.
do not believe the state should play an interventionist role in saying that it is the role of government to say that you should be free from wants or necessity. I would argue that through a natural rights compact, that you should be free to pursue virtue. Now, that's not to say you shouldn't have a social safety net, which far too often becomes a hammock, not a social safety net. But I think the design of government and the state, which is really what
it bold of Charlie to just outright lie here.
We're debating here, right? What is the role of public policy should be supporting things that are objectively good for people, for children, for the nation, and for the country. And so I'm happy to go.
Wait, would it not be objectively good for everyone to have health care, Charlie? Would that not be objectively good for literally everybody?
Into the kind of three categories that are common points of Democrat socialists next: healthcare, union membership, and kind of the development of unions, and minimum wage laws, because I would argue that some of your policy prescriptions do the opposite. They don't actually help working families. They actually raise prices and hurt job mobility. But I want to take a short break, and then we'll go back and forth, if that's okay.
Sure.
Everybody, we'll be right back.
Let's do it.
Yeah, like, one of the interesting things, I need a link to that video. Here you go, Nindreen. Yeah, first of all, like, the myth of, like, dependence on the social safety net is largely a myth. But also, the idea that, how do I put this? The idea that, like, you should be fearing for your life in the wealthiest society on earth, or that the right of a corporation to make profit supersedes your right to be alive is pretty interesting. Pretty interesting, and by that I mean bad.
In these United States of America, this great country of ours, we American Indians, we can be anything we want to be, except American Indians.
A lot of the soldiers were very aggressive, so the women did get raped.
What we call huelte. Huelte means a place of suffering, dying, starvation, nothing good. Just like Nazi concentration camps.
I didn't realize how corrupt things were. I didn't realize
what does this have to do with socialism exactly?
what kind of environment we were living in.
We had no running water, we had no power.
They de-incentivize people from, opportunity.
That's why our suicide rate has climbed up astronomical rates.
I moved from the poorest county in America, the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, to the richest area in the country, the Navajo Indian Reservation. There is no difference. The poorest and richest reservations in our nation suffer from identical problems. This is not anything new. This is an everyday occurrence in all tribal governments.
Yeah, might have something to do with the genocide of their people and the mass deportation to reservations. Oh, okay. Here's what I am surmising the angle is here, is that the tribal governments are an example of socialism and are corrupt, and ergo socialism doesn't work. That's essentially the angle that I am thinking they're gonna take with this.
So my life and my tale and my truth has been to fight socialism. And I'm hoping that I can wake up as many Navajos as I can to tell them that you can do this. Yeah, even if I have to fight you to save you. And I think that's what I'm also projecting to my people. Even though they are so harsh on social media and they completely hammer at me, I tell them, I'll be here even if I have to fight you to save you.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Guys, you realize what A Long Walk in Socialism references, right? They're explicitly referencing the Trail of Tears. They're like explicitly referencing genocidal policies from the American government that were made to aid capitalism. They were putting people on reservations so that capitalists could exploit that land. The absolute audacity of this. The absolute audacity of this is frankly astonishing. I need to actually look this up real quick. A Long Walk in Oh my gosh, this came out last year. This came out last year. I can't not watch this. I can't not watch this right now. We're shifting gears real hard here.
In these United States of America, we American Indians, we can be anything we want to be.
Wait, did they just use Bigfoot tracks to like... Are those bear tracks? Okay. It's 15 minutes long.
Except American Indians.
Well, Ray Roberto, I guess I'm just confused. What does Brandon have to do with Joe Biden?
If you want to see an example of failed socialism, go to an Indian reservation.
Oh my gosh. All right. I need to preface this by pointing out that that Native American reservations are not socialist in any way, shape, or form.
In my mind, from what I understand and what my family has told me through, stories, we were able to roam free. So we were very active, and we moved through the land, and we took care of the plants and the animals, but we also lived, in harmony, and I believe it was a beautiful time. We were a free people, absolutely free.
And that's why we established a capitalist system of exchange. Oh wait, no, that isn't actually how Native societies worked. Okay. Wait, a political and economic theory of social organization which advocates for the means of, I thought it was at McCann's, the means of production, distribution, and exchange should be owned and regulated by the community as a whole. A transitional social state between the overthrow of capitalism and the realization of communism. Well, first of all, these are two different things, and socialism is indeed not where the community as a whole dictates what happens in your workplace, but where the workers at your workplace dictate what happens in the workplace.
Socialism, I believe, began with the Long Walk. The long walk was when Manifest Destiny crossed the United States. They had the railroads coming through. People needed to build homes.
Wow. How convenient that socialism started with the Trail of Tears. All right.
California, and the Indian nations were in the way. That's when they decided to send in the military, and they moved them across the reservation, and they were taken to a place called Bosque Redondo. People were killed along the way. A lot of the soldiers were very aggressive, so people did, the women did get raped.
Or wait, was this the Trail of Tears, or am I thinking of something else?
I would call it Wednesday for some.
Okay, this is the Trail of Tears. Okay, yeah, no, they're saying socialism did the Trail of Tears. Okay.
That means a place of suffering, dying, starvation, nothing good. Just like Nazi concentration camps.
By the way, you realize the implications of this, right? You guys realize that by showing the definition of like the community owning the means of production and relating it to like Native American reservations, that it explicitly like aids white supremacy, because it's like, look at what these people, they've been given everything. Gosh, they can't even take care of themselves. Oh gosh, socialism gave them everything, and their communities couldn't come together to like actually make things happen. Oh goodness.
They had an idea of turning these nomadic tribes, hunter and gatherers, into farmers. They wanted us to farm, but nothing was growing. So they were freaked out too, and I'm like, they don't think anyone really knew what to do. And that's when we called for, treaties. And after we agreed on it, the treaty is very simply written, and they allowed us to come home.
Wait. Who is this lady? Who is this lady? Do they introduce her at all? Or is she just like a Native American?
They had an idea of turning these nomadic tribes, hunter and gatherers, into farmers. They wanted us to farm, but nothing was growing. So they were freaked out.
Yeah, if they wanted those people to be farmers, they could have farmed without the mass deportations.
Too, and I'm like, they don't think.
Oh, go back further? Oh yeah, right here. She's literally named Karen. Karen Bedoni. Karen Bedoni. Oh, she's a politician. Let's see. She's running for the governor of New Mexico. Okay. Oh, she also ran for the U.S. House of Representatives in 2020. Let's see. Okay, so she's a QAnoner. Okay. Alright, well, we're learning some things. She's part of the Natives for Trump caucus. And she has never heard the things that Donald Trump has had to say about Native Americans, I suppose. God. What is her business, though? My name is Karen Bedoni, and I'm a grassroots New Mexican as far back to the inception of this state. They drew lines around my family. I'm entering the gubernatorial race of 2022 to fight for our state that has been run dry by bad policy. The state is the last battleground after the federal level is lost and compromised. By the 10th Amendment, we, statesmen and stateswomen, must hold the line that protects our freedom, liberty, and fundamental rights as Americans. The governor is the most important soldier that will protect the people, our resources, our energy, our property, our business, our jobs, our health, our elderly, and our youth. I believe in our republic and our Constitution. I am ready and armed with the most beautiful plan created by and for the people of New Mexico to remedy century-old problems and fix the new radical paradigms inflicted upon us today. Okay. Come research, know, and walk the path of freedom with all the people of New Mexico that know the truth. Oh.
Agriculture, forestry. My name is Karen Bedoni, and I'm an American, Native American, Navajo woman. My Navajo name means one who goes to war and then returns. I do not go to quit, give up, nor falter.
I go
to complete a task.
She has a rifle with the American flag on it.
I am a woman of courage and have worked tirelessly to formulate
she has a rifle and a handgun.
Liberating plan for the beautiful state of New Mexico. I am a woman of God and a wife that believes in this country. Of all the history and the tragedy of New Mexico, we have now come together as a people, together as one, and I'm here.
Yeah, Native Americans, famous for co-signing freedom established in 1776. A very famous position.
Here to unite us. I carry my rifle not to project the fear of gun violence by the media, nor notions of ignorance for responsible gun ownership. I carry to establish my constitutional right as an American. A compelling visual of an American woman with her rifle is the most solid statement of belief and respect for the greatest gift of our republic, the Constitution.
This does feel like a bit. This feels like a joke. I cannot emphasize enough that this is real.
I'm a constitutionalist, simply said. I am so very thankful.
She's running for governor. In 2020, she got 27% of the vote. I am afraid she actually has a shot of getting elected.
For in 1924, a Republican president by the name of Calvin Coolidge, by declaration, gave Indian country citizenship. The Grand Ole Party was established to end slavery. It surrounded its ideals with conservatism. I am a Republican based on...
No, it didn't. No, actually. Conservatism came later to the Republican Party. During the Southern Switch, where conservatives decided they were going to be Republican now so that they could continue to support segregation. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness.
Original merit of the party, but my heart breaks in today's arena. Today I stand as an American. I have respect for the moderate Democrat that are also the same as my Democratic parents. The common ground is based on conservatism. It's the teachings that have shaped my life to become a loving person and a hard worker.
Good night, Ashley.
The heaviest burdens that weigh on my mind are what we need to do to save our state. Energy, safety, law enforcement support, education, reducing...
Oh my... Yeah, cops are well-known supporters of Native American rights.
Reducing taxes, cutting the red tape for small businesses, freedom, independence, jobs, agriculture, forestry, and all of our many precious industries here in New Mexico. And we also...
Someone needs to send this to Lost Sioux.
Need to keep God in our endeavors.
Oh my gosh.
And my most important concern is that we reduce government and not let it hinder and hurt our families, and let us stand together as one to protect them as the way we should. My name is Karen Bedoni, and I am now declaring my candidacy for governor of the state of New Mexico.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe
That is why, as your governor, I will not be intimidated nor defeated. As God is my witness, armed with the Constitution, I refuse to go quietly into the socialistic night.
The socialistic night? Wait, there's still 2 minutes left of this? I thought it was almost done. Oh my god.
I believe the Second Amendment of the Constitution is absolute, written so beautifully that the builders of this nation installed these rights to withstand.
She just threw a loaded gun at her child. I am a responsible gun owner. Cocks rifle, throws it to her daughter. All right. Oh, Lady Raincloud. Oh. We stumbled down the rabbit hole today. Down to the rabbit hole to the Natives for Trump caucus, who have a mini documentary produced by Turning Point USA. And right now, we just discovered that there is a Native American woman running for the Republican governorship of New Mexico in 2022 named Karen Bedoni. And this campaign video is something.
Tyranny and the trampling of our liberties and freedoms. As a mother of 5 daughters, we will bear arms to protect ourselves. Missing, murdered, and indigenous women is real and is also unresolved.
Don't point your crossbow at the cameraman. Oh gosh.
But my concerns
wait. Her 5th daughter has a bow and arrow. Oh my goodness.
Just stop there. I will apply a stringent immigration policy that will require a legal process of immigration.
Wait, has she been listing off her policies? Because I haven't been able to listen. We're gonna backtrack real quick. I need to see her throw a loaded rifle at her child again.
Into the socialistic night. I believe the Second Amendment of the Constitution is absolute, written so beautifully that the builders of this nation installed these rights to withstand tyranny and the trampling of our liberties and freedoms. As a mother of 5 daughters, we will bear arms to protect ourselves. Missing, murdered, and indigenous women is real and is also unresolved.
Which is why I arm my daughters with crossbows.
But my concerns don't just stop there. I will apply a stringent immigration policy that will require a legal process of immigration for the safety and security of all.
We already have that. It's called our immigration policy.
I will not tolerate human trafficking, especially the trafficking of young children.
That's already illegal, though.
I am pro-life, and I will fight for our state to be a pro-life state. Adoption is the most loving alternative to abortion.
Sure, if a woman wants to have a baby.
I will focus on our youth. No child should be hungry. No child should be abused. I will seek the steepest punishment for a child that has been neglected, abused, harmed, or murdered.
Did you just shoot an arrow? At no target?
New Mexico needs a tough governor with a motherly heart, caring hands, and calluses of real work. The truest values of an intentional American. I am a New Mexican. I am a mother. I am a wife. I'm a business owner. I'm a fighter for the people. I humbly ask for your prayers of support and protection of what is still good and righteous in our state. I pray that this campaign is untouched by evil. Let my words be my prayer. In Jesus' name, amen.
What is separation of church and state, chat?
My name is Karen Bedoni, and I approve this message.
I'm truly speechless. Also, Lady Raincloud, this is just the tip of the iceberg, to be honest. So just to clarify, her stated policy goals are immigration that has immigration laws, something we already have, and making sure that child abuse is prosecuted. Something that already is, but I suppose you could prosecute it more? But child abuse is already illegal. Goodness. Alright, well, does she have any more stated policies? Where is Karen? Karen can strike anytime, anywhere. Oh my gosh. The only conservative candidate that can beat Lujan Grisham, Bedoni, is nationally recognized full-blooded Navajo American Indian and the hardest-working constitutional fighter New Mexico has ever had. Karen is exciting and riveting when she has the mic. You must hear her speak. The New Mexico Small Business Consortium. Okay. The last 2 years in the fight for this state, I've been blessed to meet some strong people. Of all those I stood with and had stand by me, Karen Bedoni is the most level-headed and the strongest. Her journey has captivated me since our paths first crossed. The New Mexico Cowboys for America group. Oh, wait. Supporting the Native Native individual that has done the research and is a critical thinker and free individual, ones who are leaving the far leftist ideals and returning back to our beautiful, cultural, conservative understanding of a true balanced Native life. Back Nexit, the Native American Indian exit. Oh my gosh. Oh, wait. Okay, we got a letter here, folks. We got ourselves a letter. Dear fellow Americans, today we are faced with epic circumstances beyond that blatantly affect our lives in all areas of our human functionality and well-being. We are being negatively impacted physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, brothers. Politics has become a blind, ungracious beast. It has come to the point I could sit idle no more. My name is Karen Bedoni. I'm an American set out to fight for our republic that currently has been weaponized through gross mismanagement. This mismanagement has created a dumpster fire called communism, well hidden under the cloak of democracy. To list this outcome, we now know China is here. Biological weaponry is here. Land grabbing is occurring. American food industry is in jeopardy. Intrusion of our personal bodies is occurring. Medical manipulation and control is surging. Indoctrination of our educational systems is here. Globalism is on the menu, boys. Democrat sleepers now make up a majority of our Republican Party seats. Oh my gosh. The fight for our nation and our children's future is in our laps. I believe we must stand together to save what is left. But to say what is right, I mean to say. Slim Jim Pickens, thank you so much for the follow. We must shove racial leftist labels aside and stand under Old Glory once more. As one, we must remember how far we have come and remember all the many lives that were paid so that we may sleep under the security blanket called freedom. As a Native American Indian, I can proclaim that the government will never guarantee our safety, nor our prosperity, and definitely not the American dream today. Less government is the ring of liberty. Why was that in quotes? That makes it sound like you're being ironic. Less government is the ringing of liberty. The United States has always proclaimed independence of the people from tyranny. The entire world watches us, and yet we as Americans have become far too complacent in our dealings, and the government is now literally in and on our faces. Oh my gosh. Yeehaw, brothers! Let's get rid of them mask diapers! It is up to us to stop the fall of our states, thus our nation. We must protect our businesses to ensure services to the consumer for as long and faithfully as we can. Small businesses must weather the storm of socialism. Hail that cometh. She literally said cometh. Socialism comes in, ushering efforts of the far left, and we must not allow that government to completely make us dependent and conquered. Capitalism is the greatest weapon against poverty in the surrendering of our individual independence. Capitalism brings with it the understanding and essence of freedom and self-reliance. If small business owners quit, the fight for our country will be lost. Unemployment is the marker of a failed nation. Do not cometh. I'm a gubernatorial candidate for the state of New Mexico. I can't believe this is real. In the most simplest... Oh my god. It actually says, in the most simplest form. In the most simplest form. I am an American stateswoman, and I have decided to accept the most difficult path to save our beloved New Mexico. The opportunity rests on our hands, and all we need is the courage and the support to complete it. New Mexico is not lost. We have a chance, brothers, and I am that chance. For I am the only candidate that can unravel the progressive left socialists' efforts and that rest in false conservation tactics and racial division. I am intelligent enough that I will stop at nothing to save my state, my community, my family, our country, and the generations behind me. I'm the Navajo conservative patriot and the beating heart of New Mexico. I am pro-God, family, Constitution, gun Second Amendment. Wait, why is gun Second Amendment hyphenated? I'm pro-children, life, youth, businesses, American manufacturing, oil and gas, coal and mining, diverse energy, natural resources, beef agriculture, civility, law enforcement, open and free states, term limits, and in mandates, wall and American. Oh, goodness, this hurts. I can see the left coming before anyone else has. The grammar in this is terrible. I'm watching history repeat and Indian country paid the price as the first conquering experiment over a people. What? Yeah, you were conquered because of capitalist incentive. Alright. Now, our America is the new application. What? With my candidacy, there is hope. In today's climate, a governor must be the toughest warrior that understands what it means to carry the 10th. We must be the last soldier on the battlefield of state prosperity and federal overreach. The time of business as usual politicians is over. I am a people-tician. I am a people-tician and have come directly from the people of New Mexico to fight to save our state and give the power back to the people, brother. Guys, I don't know if you need to know this, but like the polis refers to people. Like politician literally already refers to what that like people-tician. This is so funny. It literally hurts. Also, if this wasn't real, if this was a punk, this would be the greatest punk of all time. Send checks to. Yeah, of course. My pics? Oh gosh, she sends these out all the time. Oh boy. Oh yeah, Lady Raincloud, are you still here? Okay, well, she attributes the Trail of Tears to socialism. Socialism caused the Trail of Tears. Just prep yourself for that. Just prep yourself for this, okay? Because this was just a small. Oh gosh, what does her merch look like? Oh my gosh, it's just unironic terrible shirts. Oh no. What? Who made these? Why were what? These are easily the worst shirts I have ever seen in my life. I can't chat. What? This is a product put out by someone who's supposedly a really good business person. I can't believe this is real. You have ostensibly all of the artistry of like the American Native American community that you could like pull on for your merch, and this is what you put out. Truly living up to the name Karen. All right. All right, we're dumping this in the memory hole, okay? No, we're never gonna think about it again, except for right now.
And they moved them across the reservation, and they were taken to a place called Bosque Redondo. People were killed along the way. A lot of the soldiers were very aggressive, so people did.
Zizlos, thank you for the follow. I don't know how to pronounce the collection of letters that just followed, but thank you.
What does that mean?
Muerte means a place of suffering, dying, starvation, nothing good, just like Nazi concentration camps.
They had an idea of turning these nomadic tribes, hunter and gatherers, into farmers. They wanted us to farm, but nothing was growing. So they were freaked out too, and I'm like, they don't think anyone really knew what to do. And that's when we called for, treaties. And after we agreed on it, the treaty is very simply written, and they allowed us to come home.
Yep, and the United States totally honored all of those treaties, and everyone went home, and it was fine. The end.
Washington,
No one, socialism isn't talking about giving everyone what they want. It's literally just talking about giving people what they need to live without being coerced by capitalism.
So they were given American names. You were given a CIB, an actual number, and then you were given family cards. And so there began your family tree. So that number entitled you to a ration, and that's where you began to get your, what was due.
Wait, so you think that having American names was a symptom of socialism? But you go by Karen. All right, just checking. To
you. So that's where the parameters of control, and we couldn't leave the reservation. Back then, no one had diabetes and nobody was overweight because we lived off the land and we moved a lot. but we were heavily assimilated where we became more dependent on the system. And that's where socialized programs came into play, because there was never enough food, there was no refrigeration. So then let's start the commodity food program where everything came in cans.
It's pretty convenient that she like skipped from like 1850 to like the 1950s with very little explanation of context between there. I don't know if you guys know this, but a lot happened in that century. Like the Civil War.
Which where high sodium was introduced, high sugar was introduced, and so that's where the health of the people began to...
No, sorry, that didn't have... sorry here, but that was introduced to everybody. It wasn't like a tactical, like, yes, we will make the Native American peoples fat and get diabetes. Like, no, that happened to everybody because that was just put into food.
Take a dive.
That system is rife with waste, abuse, and malpractice. You know, it's been said and written that, you know, if you control the healthcare, you can control the population. And all that power and control over our lives, since healthcare sometimes is a life or death decision, is in the hands of the very...
Oh, also, Lady Raincloud, the woman who was just talking is a QAnon person, because of course.
Bureaucrats and politicians in DC whom we don't trust. You know, many of the native tribes are seeking to have independent health care because of just all of the abuse.
You know, the values that they're really pushing currently are liberalism, and that's a stepping stone to socialism and eventually...
Well, actually, you know what would greatly increase the quality of healthcare on, like, reservations? Giving all people in the United States like healthcare. Then literally anyone can just go to any hospital they want to go to when there is something wrong. Jeez.
To communism, and that how I tracked it back, because I started to see how education was part of it. Like, they control our education system. They tell us what we can and cannot learn. And as I understood that, that's when I pulled my children out of school, because when they started bringing home applications, and I thought it was a job application, but when I looked closer at it, my son showed me it was a food stamp application.
I didn't realize how corrupt things were.
Yeah, how dare schools in low-income areas teach kids how to apply for food stamps?
I didn't realize what kind of environment we were living in, and I didn't realize what a socialistic community, how socialistic it was. It's really severe.
Socialistic isn't a word. You even by the definition provided at the beginning of this video, it's pretty apparent that the people working in these communities aren't controlling their means of production.
Some of my peers, my old peers, because they're in poverty and they don't know it.
Socialism benannt ja den nebe besser als
That's why everyone pays taxes. Everyone pays taxes. Fucking five head over here.
The people that we voted in to lead us. I mean,
by the way, I love the misdirection here. Like, we spend like 2/3 of our budget on the military, but we just, socialism is when you run out of other people's money. But like, most of the money we're spending is on like literal dick-wagging military ships and shit.
Some good, yes. And there's some that, yeah, I mean...
Wait, did that say Margaret Thatcher? I missed it. Oh, it did, yeah. I wonder if Margaret Thatcher had anything to say about Native peoples. Let's see. Margaret Thatcher, natives. Oh, weird. Weird. The Australian former foreign minister claimed that she was just explicitly racist. Interesting. Let's see. I wonder if she, let's see. Natives. All right. Carr said that during a conversation with Lady Thatcher after she had retired and with his Malaysian-born wife Helena standing nearby, the late British Prime Minister warned him against Asian immigration, saying if we allowed too much of it, we'd see the natives of the land, the European settlers, overtaken by migrants. Just off the top of my head, I don't think that the natives of the land in Australia are the natives of Australia. Oh my goodness. All right.
What they say and what they're gonna do, but you know what? When they get in, it's
Homonyms 13. Thank you for the follow.
So now, because of the government is in such big control, you have to ask the question, how is the most heavily funded in America tribe have the poorest population? The money that comes from the federal government is provided by programs. They don't give you checks. We don't get, a per diem or whatever just for being part of the tribe. No, we get nothing as Navajos. Only way you can get anything from the government is if you are the lowest of the low. So basically what
you're saying is that it's not socialism. Socialism isn't when the government does stuff, chat. Socialism is when workers control their workplaces, aka the means of production.
When you're in that environment, you basically have to sell off your freedom piece by piece in order to qualify for every little program. So the programs end up hurting us, and they numb us to what we actually need by providing us what they think we need.
I think those are the challenges that we're looking at in these socialist style governments where, everything sounds great, is because you give too much power and control to a small group of people, and they don't want to give that up. The tribal government's controlling various aspects of commerce, of utility management, of the lack of private property ownership on the reservation. So, again, all of these systems de-incentivize, ownership. They de-incentivize people from,
True. The best way forward for Native Americans is truly private ownership of their properties and becoming just like the surrounding areas. God,
opportunity, other than the jobs that exist within government.
So when the enterprises were created, they were essentially made to give skills to the Navajo people, and these enterprises were created to basically help introduce us into the modern age. And now they've morphed into something completely different.
I'm not familiar with the concept of native prizes. What is that? Is this like a thing? Or is that just like her saying business? I think it's just her saying business.
In this modern age, the enterprises have become a for-profit entity for our own government.
I guess I'm confused. Enterprises have become a for-profit entity. Yeah, that's what a business is.
And that's what socialism has really wrapped us around, and now it's starting to show communistic characteristics.
I would love this lady to describe what communism is.
Socialism.
These are all real problems, by the way. But just to be clear, the problem with this isn't socialism. Like, we could fix a lot of these problems by getting rid of capitalism.
I had to teach my husband too, who was a product of socialism, hardcore socialism. And so he was only educated into the really heavy, hardcore reservation life.
All right. Growing up, it's been really tough. You know, I lost my mom when I was 5 years old due to my father drinking and I guess domestic violence and stuff. You know, I guess it took his anger out on my mom, my late mom. But he was so angry driving recklessly that my mom just didn't want nothing to do with him. He jumped out of the vehicle with my 1-year-old brother.
Oh my God.
My 1-year-old brother survived, but he broke his right leg and my mom died right there. So it's been tough, you know. It's been something that I don't think I've never forgot. I can't forget it, you know, I can't because I was there and it's been a nightmare ever since I was 5.
And he witnessed all this, and so.
Wait, how is socialism responsible for that? Did socialism become like a physical entity and throw your mom out of the car? What? I mean, that's a heartbreaking story. That's terrible. But what does that have to do with this?
So that was heavy, heavy socialism that my heart just broke for him.
How? No, sorry. How? You can maybe make the argument that like, yeah, there are some socialistic tendencies on the reservation and like that in turn like causes people to like, you know, be really sad and stuff. But like, sorry, you need to make that connection explicit, otherwise it's just a sad story. And even with the definition provided in the video of socialism, none of what this has to do with is socialism. It's very weird. She's talking like socialism personally slit the throat of all her loved ones.
And when someone is in that prison and they get angry, I had to fight through that anger. And my theme, I always told him, is I will fight you to save you.
Just recently, a couple of years ago, I lost my brother, you know. I lost my brother to the exact same thing, but he passed away. And I always said that socialism took my brother because he turned to drugs, he turned to alcoholism, and he couldn't.
How is that socialism's fault? How is that the fault of him supposedly owning his workplace, which is not what which is not what you are describing in this situation at all.
And it's just he wanted to check out, and socialism took him. And it really hurt my feeling that I couldn't help him, you know, and I couldn't save him.
Look, these people need all conservatives, not these people as in Native Americans, but these people as in conservatives, need socialism put in their schools so they can stop making these, like, absolutely dog shit arguments, okay?
There are so many people dragging their feet and pointing fingers. And people like me, I can't sell a thing. Something's got to happen. And quit pointing fingers, let's all get together, get our heads together and do it. That's what I think, instead of
this entire video has been pointing the finger at socialism. Like that's been the point of this video.
No, let's all combine, let's all get together and let's kick this thing in the butt.
What you are describing, collectively working together to kick this thing's butt, what you are literally describing is the definition of socialism at the beginning of this video.
And move on.
I choose not to go in a socialist state. I do not want socialism. I don't want socialism for her or for my grandkids. No, I don't want that for them. I want them to be happy and live their life to their fullest, bring happiness for their kids. It hasn't been working for almost, what?
Yeah, I want them to be happy and to bring happiness to their kids, and that means not making sure my grandkids don't have health care, I guess.
And it sucks. Socialism sucks. There's no other word, there's no other way you can describe it. It fucking sucks.
Describe how any of these things are socialist rather than just government programs. This does hurt.
Mother, what do? You have to first take control of yourself, then you have to work with your spouse, and then you take control of your children, then you take control of your pocketbook.
Yes. You must take control of your children. Taking control of your children means that they have freedom, okay? Yeah, these people have really worrying ideas about freedom, okay?
And then you decide to get off the program, and how do you do that? Through self-sufficiency. So my life and my tale and my truth has been to fight socialism. And I'm hoping that I can wake up as many Navajos as I can to tell them that you can do this.
I think the best way that we can honor our ancestors and everything that they overcame for us to benefit today from all of these opportunities is to become successful and to take advantage of the opportunities that they never had.
Freedom is everything. It's in everything. And so when socialism creeps in, it's scary because they don't give you a choice and you're just given what you're given and you can't say anything.
Yeah, even if I have to fight you to save you. And I think that's what I'm also projecting to my people. Even though they are so harsh on social media and they completely hammer at me, I tell them, I'll be here even if I have to fight you to save you.
You know what? I'm sure there were Native Americans around the same time of the Trail of Tears who's like, this is for this guys. This is you know what? This is for our benefit. They're killing and raping us for our benefit. Guys. It's gonna work out for us. We just gotta be more like these white folk, and we'll be okay. And like I have words I want to say, like turncoat, that are perhaps better said by somebody else, but this is pretty disgusting.
You've been doing this will we won't.
Nope. Not right now. All right. All right. Guys, as much as I would love to do a Ben Burgess, finish this Ben Burgess debate, that video is absolutely exhausting.